many people have volunteered to help clear away the rubble and look for survivors, they've been turning them away. For those hauling away the debris, the story is in their eyes and in their words, what they saw and didn't see.
The rescue effort is hampered by the fact that there's still fire there. There are still unsound structures, and it's still dangerous.
The smoke and the smell that has been a part of what's been going on in the southern tip of Manhattan pervaded
But with
the
all the hijacked planes originally headed for California, the state is feeling vulnerable. Fearing the nation's second largest city might also be a target, workers fled downtown high-rises. There's heightened alert on the Golden Gate and Bay Bridges, San Francisco's main Transamerica Pyramid in San Francisco. Even Seattle's Space Needle closed down. Even Disneyland, the self-proclaimed happiest place on earth, joined other California amusement parks and closed down in fear. At Hoover Dam, boats and bomb-sniffing dogs are on patrol. Armed guards stand outside the San Onofre nuclear plant near San Diego. The Navy threw up barricades at its 32nd Street station, also in San Diego. Up the road, Marine Camp Pendleton went on threat condition D.
In Chicago at the Sears Tower, America's tallest building, it was business as usual.
This is the tallest, and I'm terrified.
Newspaper headlines offered a sample of reaction to the terror, pretty straightforward mostly. The San Francisco Examiner was just plain angry.
Special edition headlines screaming terror. Many other people are feeling helpless.
Is this at the end of the world? That's the Daily Star in London. Get the attention of everyone everywhere. In London, apocalypse in the Daily Mail, one of the tabloids. The pictures of the smoke billowing and the fireball at the World Trade Center.
Time magazine, that is the cover shot. There are no words, there's no strong slug on it, just the date.
Read every word, gasped at still photos that stopped the heart. It had happened. It had really happened. Slowly today, the state of stun, the disbelief, gave way.
Senator Warner, the Vice President Dick Cheney confirmed today that when one of those planes, those hijacked planes, was going towards Washington, U.S. fighter jets were authorized to shoot that plane down.
I think a lot of people aren't familiar that there's quite a bit that was underground the World Trade Center, at least 6 or 7 levels, including parking, a concourse, subway, a number of things below there.
Hundreds lined up on the West Side Highway, the main access to the attack site, to offer their support, to rally their spirits.
Common values. The stunning displays of patriotism throughout this country and the actions of the people behind them leave no doubt about where its reputation stands today.
God bless all the victims and families. May this never happen again.
Whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just. Think on these things and the God of peace will be with you.
May all who have lost those they love find peace. We will not forget.
God bless us all, the fighters, the survivors, the lost. You are all in our prayers.
Many in New York pray for the victims, their loved ones, and the nation at St. Patrick's Cathedral, which has stayed open since Tuesday's attacks.
So many people knew the name of someone who never called home yesterday, never came back from work. A neighbor, a friend.
Faces behind the agony that came next. From stockbrokers to secretaries, executives to a window washer. A man who placed a phone call to his wife after the first plane crashed.
There were flowers. There were pictures of the firefighters who were missing.
Later, he stopped by the Pentagon to thank rescue workers for their efforts.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. You did? Thank you, sir.
During the president's visit, a crew of firefighters hung a giant American flag next to the damaged section, one of many public displays standing up to terrorism.
Like at this UCLA memorial service, but the shock waves are still rippling out.
In a moment, everyone knew things can't be the same anymore. And all across the country, as shock gave way to fear or anger or some other emotion, officials in charge of places and events.
And a street musician playing a bugle call he probably hadn't played in years. Sadness and tiredness, back to work, still grieving, but determined.
Help us to make sense of senseless acts.
Today, nationwide, flags were lowered to half-staff. Many states closed their public buildings. Courthouses shuttered. Trials postponed.
Watch for loved ones who had left for work that morning.
wondering if they would ever return.
We all heard this just really loud explosion.
Huge explosion and a shatter. I never thought that it would happen here.
Knowing that each floor I was closer to living.
I thought the building was going over. The building starts to rock, smoke starts. They had hit the World Trade Center 2 first. I would have been evaporated. I'd be dead. And I'm here now because of that 18 minutes that the time difference bought me.
So many survivors are wondering how it was they were spared, whether by minutes or movement or sheer happenstance.
Yeah, they might have found him.
Hospital after hospital checked the latest patient list for Tom's name. It wasn't there. They still don't know how long it might be before they'll find out what happened.
She called her husband of 1 year, Sean, and left this message.
Sean, it's me. I just wanted to let you know I love you, and I'm stuck in this building in New York. A plane hit the building or a bomb went off, we don't know, but there's lots of smoke, and we just wanted you to know that I love you always.
I just wanted to wake up and just somehow just have it not happen, have it be a bad dream.
But this nightmare was real.
Him and just hold in there, and we just want him to come home. We need him to come home.
He told her he and 2 other passengers planned to do something about it. I love you, honey, he said.
All day and tonight, hundreds of friends and relatives of the victims waiting in line outside a Manhattan armory just to let city emergency workers know that their brother or sister or husband or wife or father or mother or just their friend was in one of those buildings.
But as most people began to comprehend what had happened at the World Trade Center, what had to have happened to all those people, disbelief gave way to sorrow, to great aching sadness. So many people in this city of walkers walked with their heads low today, depressed, defeated somehow. The bad guys seem to have won this time.
Tim has 4 babies at home, and Andrew has 2, and we just want them to come home. Please call Jackie. And I want to find my daughter now. Find her.
I love you. I'm in the World Trade Center. The building was hit by something. I don't know if I'm going to get out, but I love you very much. I hope I'll see you later. Bye.
Well, Laura, what must it be like to hear that?
It was just horrible. It was really just horrible. I could hear the terror in his voice. Just keep coming back to saying we'll find him. We're going to find him.
God bless the people who were on the 110th floor, because if I was down at the 50th, they were down at the 80th. And we looked up about maybe 10 or 15 floors up, and the whole wall was blown out, and it was filled with flames.
Grateful that I got out before the buildings collapsed.
He said that a group of them were getting ready to do something. And then he hung up and he never called back.
And I asked him, Mark, who are they? And he didn't get a chance to answer me. The phone went dead.
With these other men into play, he said, 3 or 4 other guys, they're big like me, were talking about storming the hijackers.
At least 4 of the passengers are now believed to have taken on the hijackers.
Terror mastermind, as he's so often called, Osama bin Laden, is the leading suspect in these well-planned, well-executed attacks in New York and Washington.
Bin Laden has been involved in plots before.
Clearly hinting that they are willing to take military action.
Around the world and across the country, FBI agents are now looking for other terrorists and looking for clues about the dead hijackers as well.
Back up! Back up!
The streets of Boston were under siege earlier today as local, state, and federal investigators moved in on a downtown hotel.
In Hamburg, Germany, federal police launched an extensive search of an apartment shared by Mohammed Atta and Marwan al-Shari last February.
FBI agents there today found what they think is the terrorist's car. Inside, Arabic language flight manuals. They arrested a suspect in Boston. In Florida, near Fort Lauderdale, agents went to a flight school and seized records. Mohammed Atta, listed as a passenger on one hijacked flight, took flying lessons. His instructor says Atta learned enough to steer a 767.
And the terrorists that hijacked the 2 Boston flights seem to have begun their long trek from small towns in Florida.
FBI agents converged on a small rental car company. Records show that Atta rented 2 automobiles at that location.
The total number of hijackers, to our best estimate and our best knowledge given the information at this time, on the 4 planes that crashed was at least 18.
And it's becoming clear that of the 18 terrorists, this man, Mohammed Atta, played a pivotal role in the attacks.
From American Airlines Flight 11, which targeted the World Trade Center's North Tower, there's Mohammed from United Airlines Flight 175, Marwan al-Shahi.
Marwan al-Shahi worked out shortly before hijacking the second plane that hit the World Trade Center, before they would hijack the United flight that crashed into the Pentagon.
2 of the terrorists who crashed into the World Trade Center are seen gathering bags.
2 of the suicide terrorists calmly walking through airport security on the morning of September 11th. At the end of last year, in December, Atta and al-Shahi went for jet training at a cost of some $39,000, taking flight simulator lessons for large commercial jets.
They booked the tickets on American Airlines Flight 77 from Washington to Los Angeles on Travelocity using a New Jersey address. FBI was informed that Khalid al-Midhar and Salim al-Hamzi were associated with Osama bin Laden.
Half a world away, there was a far different reaction. Gunmen appearing to applaud today's terrorism in Afghanistan. A spokesman for the ruling Taliban, who provides sanctuary for terrorist leader Osama bin Laden, said he could not have been behind them.
President Bush arrives at the Pentagon, an emotional visit by the commander-in-chief to inspect the damage and pay his respects to those who suffered some of the first casualties of this newest
Even
war.
though in this case, the enemy is not clear and Pearl Harbor was a military target.
The nation's military has been placed on high alert status.
Make no mistake. We will show the world that we will pass this test.
A vicious attack upon New York. It's an attack upon America. It's an attack upon the whole concept of freedom and our way of life. And we cannot let these attacks succeed.
Until we have saved ourselves and others from the terrible tragedy that came upon America.
The United States vowing to punish those responsible.
I've directed the full resources of our intelligence and law enforcement communities to find those responsible and to bring them to justice. None of us will ever forget this day, yet we go forward to defend freedom and all that is good and just in our world. Thank you. Good night.
And who